Hey, what's going on with patriots and patriots and all the rest of you people out there? Uh, I waited a while before I made this video just 'cause I kind of needed to calm myself down a little bit before I, started going off and ranting and raving and saying things that, you know, would draw the attention and, may earn me a knock at the door. And I'm going to try not to go that extreme, but I don't know. We're going to see how this plays out here. All right. Well, for one, let's talk about the Japanese situation. You know, I posted a video earlier. That I was talking to some of the folks. That I work with. Conversate with and stuff like that. It seemed like they were kind of making a joke about it. I don't know if it's just trying to lighten the situation with a little, gallows humor or whatever it was. I mean, I perceive it as just being disconnected from reality and kind of losing your sense of humanity. Kind of joking at such a disaster that's going on over there. Not even just with the earthquake and the tsunami that come in. I mean, that claimed, that claimed, a good bit of lives, you know. But then you add on top of that the disaster unfolding, with the nuclear power plants. It's hell at just the one Fukushima facility. There's 6 reactors there, and they've said, haven't gone into detail, but they said, there's, a couple other facilities, that are in critical states, but don't get any detail on those. They're all focusing on the Fukushima. And that number 3 reactor that went up, I mean, it was a mushroom cloud. I'm not talking about like a nuclear mushroom cloud. Any explosion with enough power and velocity and just, explosive force, whether it's, nuclear or conventional, just a big enough explosion period is going to make a mushroom cloud. So I'm not saying that mushroom clouded thermonuclear, detonation. It was that big of an explosion. And looked to me like there were, rods in that explosion. It's kind of grainy, it was a little far away, but you could definitely see a lot of material, falling out of that explosion. Doing digging around, from what I gather, which may or may not be true. This is just, what I'm seeing is that GE Mark 1 that, detonated, that exploded, had to spend fuel rods, in the secondary containment area, if you want to call it that, in the cooling pool, and that's where they were storing them. And they had a plutonium concentration of like 7%, if I remember right. Sitting outside of the core reactor vessel. And when that thing blew up, I mean, it looked like there was, if you look really closely, it looked like there were, a very good possibility of what looked like to me that there was, fuel rods, being aerosolized, in the explosion. Now, there hasn't been any straight numbers given as far as the actual radiation being put out at that facility. It seems like they're still correlating data. At least last time I checked. It's insane. There's something going on over there, and they are not letting out the full scale of what's really happening, in my opinion. Now, this is just my opinion, my stipulation, and it's a hell of a lot worse, what I'm gathering than what's being said. Now, I know there's a lot of people on the West Coast, and there's a lot of concern about the West Coast and the fallout reaching the West Coast. Now, that's a lot of distance to cover. And those particles are going to be heavy. Uranium, it's heavy. Plutonium, it's heavy. So that stuff might rain out, and fall before it hits the West Coast. But there's still going to be some fallout material when it hits the West Coast. I don't foresee it being the severity that some individuals are worrying about as far as getting radiation sickness, and stuff like that. Now, it's entirely possible that it is that bad, because anything's possible. Anything is possible. So I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. I believe that it's not going to, but best to be safe than sorry. Best have your potassium iodate or iodide or whatever it is you're trying to get, and have it on hand, just in case. But I definitely think it's going to be a lot worse than what it's being reported. I think it'll be worse. Because you got to think, that first little wave of minuscule fallout, that just hit. Well, that was from right after the quake when there was some particles being released. I mean, we don't necessarily know what's going to happen, what's going to come, especially after, what's going to happen from that big second explosion, and then the continual, radioactive isotopes getting into the air and making that journey over, They still hadn't gotten that thing under control. So it's not just that there's just going to be this one little plume that makes it over here and poof and that's it. It's going to continually be blowing in as long as the winds are blowing it this way and as long as they haven't gotten that thing under control. It's going to be a constant thing until they get it under control and they get that situation squared away, which I am praying for on a daily basis, multiple times a day, that they can get that under control. Because if this thing just keeps going and going and going unchecked, I mean, you could lose a good part of Japan, in being uninhabitable because of this, And, the Japanese, man, some people, well, don't you think they deserved it after World War II? Hell no, I don't think they deserved it. And I'll tell you why. Because, they already paid a very, very grave price for what they did. What we did back to them in retaliation, when we dropped those bombs, in my opinion, that was a purely evil thing to do. I mean, there's no telling how many innocents were lost. I mean, women, children. I mean, whenever they dropped, those bombs did not have distinction. It didn't care if it was a military target or a civilian target or a woman, man, child. It did not have a distinction between there. So I'm tired of hearing, well, for the things they did in World War II, maybe they deserve it. Well, they paid a hell of a price for that. So don't tell me anything along those lines, because that really gets under my skin. I had a fella at work, man. He was like, well, hell, and yeah, sure, you know what? I've called them Japos and, and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, they are still human beings, and I don't want to see any innocent human beings suffer. I don't want to see a loss of innocence, innocent lives. Now, are there scumbags out there that do things that need to be dealt with? Yes, there are. Yes, they are. And in the end, the Almighty is going to have the final say on that. I'm not... I just, I'm praying for these people, and I hope you are too. I know there's a couple of atheists that have been watching my videos, and well, we don't believe, I don't believe, in this all powerful entity that's, just, that controls everything. I just don't believe in that. Well, that's, maybe you don't. But what's it going to hurt to pray? I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. What do you have to lose? Yeah, it's I don't know. But I really, really hope they get this squared away. Now, as far as the West Coast goes, how bad do I think it's going to get? I have no way of knowing how bad it'll be. I know I wouldn't want to be on the West Coast. I'm personally, but if I was on the West Coast and I couldn't get out of there or whatever, some sort of, just I was in a situation where I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get out of there for, take 2 weeks of vacation and, just ease on out and go somewhere and take me a nice little vacation with the family. Um, I mean, that's what I would do. But it's not that you're going to have to, I don't think you're going to have to worry about, just, you know, worrying about getting radiation sickness and things like that. I would be more worried about the cumulative effects. Because, like I said, this stuff's going to continually come in, being blown in, while this situation is unchecked. I'm personally, I'm not going to be getting any produce, from over in that area. I'm not going to be. I'm going to be doing my damnedest not to have any of the fruits that are grown over there, or milk. I mean, there's any kind of, animals or anything like that, because if there is fallout, which undoubtedly there is, I just don't know how much of it actually going to make it down to the ground, whether you're going to be, breathing it in, stuff like that. As far as physiological effects, as far as the human being is concerned, I would be more or less worried about the cumulative and the carcinogenic effects. Getting, I full well expect to see a definitely full well expect to see a statistical bump, as far as the cancer rates and stuff like that go, because of the, long term exposure that's going to be seen right there. And I say long term, I don't know how long it's going to take them to get this situation under control over there. And it's just going to, even though it may just be minuscule amounts, but, minuscule amounts over time is going to add up. It's, hell, if you look at your radiation detectors, your Geiger counters or whatever, rotogens per hour, or rads per hour, it's an exposure. It's the length of exposure. I don't know if you guys are following me or not, but that's what I would be worried about if it was me. The long-term effects. That's the reason I would want to, get out of Dodge until this thing was over, said and done with, and still stay out of the way for, probably a week, week or two after they get everything under control over there. I mean, that's just me though. You folks out there, y'all just make up your own mind. I definitely have no faith in the establishment media, giving any sort of truth to the situation. So, am I saying, I'm not saying that you'd have to go as far as, putting little covers over your shoes and stuff like that when you're out meandering around. I definitely wouldn't be out in the rain, if it's raining down, because, I mean, you don't know, any food or anything like that, as far as vegetables or fruits or produce or anything like that, I'd wash the hell out of it. And if it's something that I could, I'd peel the outside of it off, whether it be, an apple or an orange or a tomato or something like that, because, just the chance, just the fact of fallout getting on it, I would definitely try to peel all the exterior off of it and toss it in the garbage and before I'd eat it. I wouldn't just go out and, grab an apple off the tree and chow into it. I mean, that's just me. But, but enough of that. Enough of the whole Japan and radiation fallout and all that good stuff. I don't expect it to be as bad as a lot of people think it will be, but at the same time, I believe it's going to be a lot worse than what the media is going to play it out to be. I don't really expect them to go out there. Okay, well they got this little bit. Okay, yeah, it's such a minuscule amount. Okay, show's over, nothing to see. Everybody, move along. But I don't expect them to put out anything that they're not forced to put out. Through through independent observation and things like that. Which I do have me a little Geiger in there, and I am going to have it calibrated. Not because I'm worried about it here, because of this situation. I don't know if it'll be sensitive enough to detect any fluctuations, but I am personally interested just to see if it does register any fluctuations over, your normal day to day, background radiation that's just kind of naturally occurring in my area. I'm very interested to see if it'll pick anything up, but I don't think mine is sensitive enough. But I'm going to go ahead and have it calibrated anyway. And I've got 400 doses of the potassium iodate coming. Only not because of this situation, but this situation, I kind of looked at. I broke out the DOE map, and I'm like, okay, well, I've got a nuke here, 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 here. I got, what was it? I think it was two over there and three up here in Tennessee, So I'm like, in the Madrid fault line here, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. And why am I getting so much of it? Because, for me and my immediate family, but my extended family, some neighbors, if something like that was to happen, or if there was some sort of man-caused disaster, involving a radiological device, it's why not have it on hand? Just one of those, better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So that event did kind of, get me to really thinking about, my own personal, well, if I was in the middle of that, how well equipped am I to deal with that situation? So, I'm just trying to think, if I'm in that situation, what am I going to need? And, I'm getting that. It's something that I should have already done a long time ago. But, enough of that whole thing. Now, getting into the whole Mideastern North African thing, getting involved in Libya and all that good stuff. It was funny that there was a lot of, I don't want to make this a conservative liberal thing. This should be an American thing. But we've been trained not to think of it as an American thing. It's, McDonald's, Burger King, Pepsi, Coke, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. We've gotten trained to look in this two-dimensional way of thinking instead of looking at things on a grander scale, of simple constitutional versus unconstitutional. But it's kind of funny that how there were some I'm going to go ahead and say that liberals that were hopping mad, about things that Bush was doing. And now Obama, Obozo, the clown and cadet, Well, you know what? That would be a disgrace to clowns and cadets. But, just call him Obozo the clown. Now he's doing things, and the liberals are, oh, it's humanitarian. We're doing this under a humanitarian. You mean launching, over 100 cruise missiles, is the humanitarian thing to do? If you want to talk about humanitarian, how about we go help out the Japanese that are in serious need of some humanitarian, efforts? But no, we're going to go over here and bomb the hell out of a country that, they're going to do what they're going to do. They've been killing each other and slaughtering each other for, a couple thousand years, I don't know. As long as we can remember, that's what they do. They slaughter each other, kill each other, and blow each other up. Let them be. Let them do what they do. It's not our business to go in there and, oh, okay, oh, look, the Libyans, they're overthrown Gaddafi, this goofball. And, oh, look, it's their version of 1776. And then, while they're making their little progress and doing their thing, and the moment they start getting their asses kicked by the goofball, oh, we got to go in there and we got to stop them. When before, oh no, we're not going to intervene. This is what they do. And then the moment they start getting their asses kicked, oh, humanitarian, we got to do this and hide it under a humanitarian clause. Bullshit. bullshit, you know. And what is this clown doing while the whole Japanese thing's breaking out? You're picking out your basketball shit for March Madness? You know, I've heard about March Madness. I knew it was something to do with fucking basketball, but I never followed basketball. You know, I'm like, you know, I heard this goofball's doing this March Madness stuff. I'm like, well, you know, I went over and talked to one of the guys, you know. I'm like, oh, so this is what fucking March Madness. You just sit here and pick, okay, well, these dudes are going to beat these dudes and go to this, and these dudes are going to beat these dudes and go to that until you get to the championship? And you guys are betting money on this? Damn that, I don't have that kind of expendable income, you know. If I got expendable income, it's damn sure not going to be betting on some basketball. Well, I mean, fuck, you know, I can't really say a whole lot about that. I'm sitting here, you know, chiefing on the fucking cancer stick. But, you know, which I don't need to be doing, but whatever. It helps bring the stress level down, you know. And, you know, the old lady don't like me chewing, so, you know, but I do enjoy some beech nut, man. Beech nut's good, but it ain't the same as a stogie. But getting back to, you know, where was he at? You know, where was he at? He's not a damn president. That is not a way a president is going to, you know. This is where I got to really watch what I say here, because there's a lot of things I just really want to say and get off my chest, but, you know, I just don't want to, you know, hey, buddy, come here, we got to talk to you. You know, that's not something I want right now, so try to Obozo the clown. That's what I'm going to start calling him. You know, Obozo the clown. You know, it is very disgraceful. You know, it makes me sometimes, you know, the way that our republic is being represented by some of these elected officials, you know, it makes me almost, you know, almost shameful to call myself an American, because America is not America anymore. It hasn't been America in a long time. It's just been a slowly gradual, you know, decay into what we've got today, and it's going to keep going. It's going to keep getting worse. And you know what? I got a question, okay? And I want you to answer that. I want you to think about this. Okay, I think most everybody watching this video is going to be in agreement that there are some individuals out there, you know, I don't care what you want to call them, what label you put on them, but there are some people out there that crave power and control. You know, they could give a damn about money. You know, they've got all the money they ever need. They just use the money to accumulate more power and control, because that's like that's their aphrodisiac. That's what they get off on. And sooner or later, you know, they're not going to have any more use for us, you know, in their mind's eye. We're a bunch of, you know, knuckle-dragging Neanderthal, zombie, you know, subhumans. You know, they're the evolutionary leap. You know, they're sitting up here and we're way down here. You know, they're way off the scale and we're way down here on the bottom of the scale, and they snob down and look at us. Ah, look at those idiot knuckle draggers, you know. There are some people out there that are like that. I don't care what label you want to put on them. You can put whatever label you want to on them. But, you know, with them carrying out this agenda, I got a question for you. Is it their fault for doing that, for carrying out this agenda, or is it our fault for allowing them to carry it out? Is it our fault as Americans allowing our country to decay to the current state it's in? Allowing our country to have rotten and decayed into how we have projected ourselves. Oh, don't piss off America, we'll bring democracy to your country. You know, oh, look at, you know, and oh, yeah, we're America, we got this great democracy. Yeah, we don't have a democracy. We've got an oligarchy. We're supposed to have a republic. We had a republic. We didn't keep it. Benjamin Franklin, we've given you a republic if you can keep it. Operative clause being if you can keep it. Well, we failed to keep it. We've let these people do this. And at what point is enough enough? Seriously. At what point, do we just, I will not comply. Now, I'm not talking about going to the cartridge box or anything like that. But clearly, there are some non-violent alternatives to the cartridge box, So whose fault is it that we're in the mess we're in now? Who really and truly, whose fault is it, that we've got this upper echelon of oligarchs trying to, push out this agenda? Now I do believe, I'm a Christian man. I do believe in that there are some things, that they're going to happen. It's spelled out in the Bible. Now, I'm not trying to teach a Bible class here, But at the same time, I believe that it's my duty as a God-fearing man to resist tyranny, to resist evil. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and, we're going to be raptured out of here, before it gets really bad. How long has that doctrine been around? When did the rapture doctrine that, we're just going to all be teleported out of here and it's all going to be hunky-dory, so we don't have to worry about that. I don't subscribe to that ideology. I don't find that ideology to be biblical, So that's hogwash, in my opinion, through my studying. But trying not to go down that road any farther at this time. Maybe later. I don't know. Maybe we'll go down the religious thing, at some point later. But I'm going to try to stay away from that right now. What this so-called president, he's not a president. He's not acting in any sort of presidential manner. You got this serious humanitarian, crisis going on, over in Japan, and they could very well lose a good chunk of that country if they can't get this thing under control. For a while anyway. And you're going to talk about doing, what's in the best interest of America by, doing a humanitarian bombing of another country? You got to be kidding me. Seriously. Going on this little hiatus. And waiting for how long before you actually come out and address the situation and talk about, oh yeah, there's there's some bad things happening over there, but this is going to be a nice distraction here. Let's do the basketball stuff. Now I'm not a big proponent, of any sort of foreign entanglements and foreign aid and stuff like that, but this is an exception. Money going to Israel, money going to Egypt, money going everywhere. Money going to the banks, money, all this money that's being paid out that we don't have, that's not being drawn in by the Treasury. Hell, the Treasury, what the hell does the Treasury do anymore? It's Federal Reserve that's printing the money. So what the hell is the purpose of the Treasury? Honestly, if we got some private bank, doing all the, actually handling our currency and printing it and stuff, well, why the hell do we even have a Treasury Department? I don't know. Do you know? Because I don't. I'm kind of clueless on that one. But we got all this money going out to all these other countries that could be here at home. But this is an exception that I would be full well. Hey, you're asking for help. And this is definitely extenuating circumstances. It's definitely extraordinary. You're damn right we'll help you. Let's fly some of them guys out of there. Let's help you do some evacuations. Let's help you try to get this thing under control. Here's another thing. If they were pumping seawater into those reactors, if they had the ability to pump seawater into those reactors, then why in the hell couldn't they have the circulation going? The actual cooling system going. If they had the ability to run a pump to get seawater in there, how come they couldn't run a pump that actually, kept a cooling system going? I don't know. I've been scratching my head on that one. If you guys know, please enlighten me. But, first thing, as soon as that went off, dude, we got how many alphabet soup agencies that are watching everything that's going on out of there? We have how many satellites? We still have, spy planes that rock and roll? We got the UAVs and all that good stuff. I think we still got some manned, high altitude observation platforms. I know SR-71's been decommissioned, but do we still have some U-2s? I mean, I don't know, do we? I don't know what good that'd be doing, but at least keeping tabs on the situation and trying to help these guys out and, hell, the fucking carrier, man, they turned around and hauled ass out of there after that explosion. They knew something was up. I mean, there's so much more that we could be doing for the real crisis than bombing the hell out of another country and saying, and looking at the liberals, oh, Bush, he's bad, he's going in there and blah, blah, blah. And then Obama gets up in there and, it's humanitarian, it's in our country's best interest. And they're like, yay! You gotta be kidding me. It's nuts. It's insane. And here's another thing. We got how many fronts going on now? If we go ahead and actually put boots on the ground there, so what? We got Iraq, we got Afghanistan, all this fuss about Iran, and now we're going to be going to Libya. Well, hell, that's 3 different fronts. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that we got security agreements signed with our 2 neighbors. Actually, my orientation would be, that way and that way. North and south, if we got 2 or more fronts going on, sure, we're going to accept foreign assets to come in here and, any sort of natural disasters or, civil emergencies and, or something like that, if a need arises because, hell, where's our military at? They're over there doing some shit that they ought not be doing. They're over there doing some shit that, well, where's the constitutionality of them being over there? And did Congress ever say, yeah, let's declare war or carry out an act of war? I don't recall seeing anywhere in the calendar that Congress said, yep, we're in favor of doing cruise missiles, send them away. I never seen anywhere where it was reported that Congress had made that decision. So what? The UN, the little Security Council, they're going to get together and hey, douchebag, we want to do this. You douchebag, you cool with that? Okay, let's put it to a vote. Okay, that's settled. You launch cruise missiles, you launch fighters, you put assets over there, and that's how it's going to be. Damn that, I didn't elect any, I didn't vote for any of them shitbags. So how the hell, why the hell are we allowing them to do this? Is it their fault for doing it, or is it our fault for allowing them to do that? Think about it. What can we do? I don't, you're probably, well, redneck, what should we do about it? Well, fuck, I don't know. Is there really a right answer here as to how to deal with this? I mean, I don't know if there is. But I know it starts out, I know it's got to start somewhere, and that somewhere's got to be, well, damn it, this is wrong, and I've had enough. I said in previous video, and I don't know if it's even still up, I may have pulled it down. I pulled down a lot of my old videos, and I don't have the ability to repost them, because I actually deleted them. Um, that was several. I think I cleared up like fucking 40. There was like 43 gigabytes worth of videos that I had still archived on my computer, and I had, I cleared that off to make space for other things. But you know, damn, where was I even going with that? You see, shit is so screwy that I can't even keep a straight train of thought. Because all this crap is just baloney. Our officials don't. Officials. They're representatives, but they're not our representatives. Who the hell are they representing? I don't know. But I do know the Constitution refers to it as an office of trust. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Damn, is that really 36 minutes? Fuck. Sorry, I'm going to end it here. But whose fault is it? Is it theirs for doing it, or is it ours for letting them do it? Think about that. And, well, how do we change it? I don't have an answer for you right now. I damn sure don't. And is there a right answer? I don't know if there is. It's not just black and white. The world's not black and white. The world's not left and right. There's a lot of gray area and a lot in between. So I don't have an answer for you. Is there a perfect answer? Hell no. If you can think of a good one, let me know. Seriously. But I know it's got to start somewhere, and that somewhere is, you know what, this ain't right. How does this resemble, how does this, even resemble the republic we're supposed to have? It doesn't. And I'm damn tired of it. And that's where it starts. And it goes from there. But don't be stupid. And don't be going out there and doing a bunch of stupid, ignorant shit. And you know what I'm talking about. Y'all have a good one.